morning, everyone. It is Saturday, September 9th, 2017, here on the Rancho. And good morning to all of you. And happy Saturday. Of course, Missy Jen, we have our fingers crossed and everything that this hurricane will just magically, this Hurricane Irma that's been driving everybody crazy. I think it's already set the record for the longest time existing as a radared hurricane since the beginning of satellite imagery and stuff. So it's been hanging around a long time, and I think people are starting to get burned out. The thing hasn't even hit land yet, really, in the U.S. So we're keeping our fingers crossed and our thoughts and prayers. But it does not mean that we can't spend some time with you this morning and share a few very interesting factoids about hurricanes. Everybody's rushed out on their channels to show the radars and rebroadcast CNN and Fox and stuff. But only on this channel are we bringing you original programming about the hurricanes today. Missy Jen, the hurricanes weren't even named, back when we had the Great Galveston Hurricane of 1900. The 1926 Miami Hurricane, the 1935 Key West Hurricane. They never had the 1938 Great New England Hurricane. They never had names to them. They were just called hurricanes because they were.
There was another big storm. Oy vey.
Oy vey, yeah, another big one. There were quite a few very destructive. Of course, I did a video the other day that Galveston was the biggest loss of life in the history of the U.S. from a natural disaster, with 10 to 12,000 people passed away on that. But they weren't named, and it was only until 1950 that the Weather Service started to give them names like phonetic names: Alpha, Baker, Charlie, Zebra, Octa. They did that. And by 1953, they said, you know what? That kind of sucks. They said, we're going to start using female names and, using ladies' names. And why would they use ladies' names? Why would you think that they chose to use women's names? Why?
Why? Because women are
unpredictable. At that time, the general consensus was, like a hurricane, it always shifts its movement and stuff. Women change their minds. They change that. Hurricanes change their minds
mood
too.
swings. Women could be more aggressive, less aggressive.
So in 1953, they started to go to female names, and it wasn't until 1979 that they started to use male names too, with all the feminist movement and equal rights for women and all that stuff. They started using male names. Now, the interesting thing is that a lot of names have been retired. And people say, well, how do you get a hurricane name retired? Well, if your island or your place, your country was hit very hard by the hurricane and it was devastating, you can petition the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, to retire that name. And over time, there has been, I think that there have been, I don't know, there's probably dozens and dozens, 76 names have been retired since 1953, which is pretty amazing because somebody said, why are they getting to such weird names like Katia now, and Katrina in 2005, and Irma? The reason being they've retired so many of the most common names that they're having to go in.
Like they're creating names.
they're having to go into those alphabets and dig out some other names and stuff. Katia and Irma and names like that. So it's very interesting. Only three Pacific hurricanes names have ever been retired, because obviously the Atlantic is always the most busy basin. Now, do you know which name has had the most appearances so far, with 10 times since 1959? 10 times. Can you guess which name has been the most used for never been retired?
Andrew.
The Hurricane Arlene has been used the most times of any other hurricane name. But some of the names that have been retired: Sandy, 2012, Irene in 2011. Well, we go all the way back to like 1954, Hurricane Carol, Edna, 54, Hazel. There were 3 in 54 and 55, Connie, Diane, Ione, Janet. 4 in 1 year, Audrey, Donna, Carla, Hattie, Flora, Hilda, Cleo, Dora, Betsy, Inez, Beulah, Beulah. Yeah, we got wiped out by Beulah.
Oh, wow.
And then in 79, the one I remember is David, Hurricane David, Frederick, Alan, Alicia, Elena, Gloria, Gilbert, Joan, Hugo. Remember Hugo? Diana, Klaus, Hurricane Klaus. Martinique was destroyed, so they petitioned to have that. Roxanne, Opal, Cesar, Fran, Hortense, Jorge, Mitch, Floyd. The list just goes. Allison, Iris, Michelle, Lily, Francis, Ivan, Jean. So Rita, Katrina, Wilma, Dean, Felix, Noel, Gustav, Ike, Paloma, Igor, Thomas, Irene, and Sandy. So 2012 was really the last year that a name has been retired. So that's some very interesting factoids on the hurricanes. You had a question?
So was there ever a Jennifer?
Yes, there was. This is a very interesting fact. In 1969, there was a Hurricane Jennifer out over the Pacific near Mexico. It only lasted a couple days, but guess what year she was born? So,
69.
1969. All right, guys, on that weird little bit of eerie
Isn't that
hurricane.
peculiar?
And there has never been a Hurricane Rosie. They've really never gotten that far down the list in a year. Doesn't mean it ain't coming to a neighborhood near you. We love you guys.
Rosie in the making.
We love you guys. Stay safe out there. Have yourselves a wonderful Saturday if you can. And see you on the Hangout tonight. We love you guys.